So Chat GPT has been making the rounds recently. Everybody's been talking about it. Everyone's been talking about what it can do, how much it can do. And trust me, I'm a tech geek. I find it all really interesting. But is Chat GPT good at tech? What I've got here, I have asked Chat GPT how to build a computer. I didn't ask it what parts it recommends, because I don't have the money to go out and buy parts for every video. But I did ask it how to build a computer. And I'm gonna follow its instructions, see how it goes, and well, see if it gets me a working computer. The first question I just asked it was, how do I build a computer once I have the parts? It then gave me a list of 10 steps, and then I asked it for a little bit more detail on every step. The first one is just prepare a workspace, which I've kind of already done. Make sure it's dust free and everything, I've already wiped it down. But then it happened. When I asked for more information, it told me to put on an ESD wristband. If you've seen some of my other videos, you'll know I hate these things. And while technically they work, a modern computer build probably doesn't need it. But it told me to put one on, so when I actually start building, I'm gonna put this on, I guess. Next also is to unpack my parts, which is already done, because none of them are new parts. I don't have the money for that. Oh, this is interesting. The very first thing it wants me to do is put the power supply in the case. And we start with the power supply, I guess. Just screwing the power supply into the case. Okay, the power supply is in. What's next, ChatGPT? Number 4. Install the motherboard. Yeah, it's telling me to install it into the case before I put anything in it. That's odd. Here's one of our first issues. It's telling me to install the I/O shield after I put in the motherboard, which if you built a computer, you know it won't work like that. So I'm actually gonna ask it, do I put the I/O shield? Okay. Upon asking ChatGPT which one you put in first, it has clarified this one. So I'm going to put this one in first. But I'm just saying in the initial instructions it didn't. Now, I/O shield is in. And then we place in our motherboard before putting anything in that motherboard. Interesting decision, but hey, I'm not one to judge. The specs of this machine don't really matter, as I essentially used whatever I had available, because this is about following the instructions opposed to power of the build. But AMD FX FD6100, GTX 1050 Ti, and a SATA SSD, which I'm realizing this case doesn't have a mounting space for, nor do I have an adapter plate handy, so that's annoying. Does the power supply step has already said it. I'm going to plug in the power supply cables now, even though that was in the last step technically. Cable management ain't great here, but it'll do. I've got my processor. Okay. Apparently, yep, I'm going to put the arm of the processor up, check the motherboard manual for how it sits in, which it just sits in like that. Latch goes back down. That locks it in. That's all ChatGPT's instructions. It then tells me to put on the CPU cooler, but it says nothing about thermal paste. So let's ask it. It definitely calls out thermal paste when mentioning it. Small pea-sized amount. It also tells me about how it works, how it fills all the little crevices and helps transfer the heat. Cooler master gel, bougie. Oh, that's a little too much. Oh well, ChatGPT won't notice. There we go. That's our cooler on. Let me just hook up the... So far, ChatGPT's instructions are going well. Next, install the RAM. RAM is installed in slots on the motherboard. Locate the RAM slots. Located. Press down on the RAM until the tabs lock in place. Got some Corsair RAM. Oh my god, I just stuck it in backwards. I'm gonna have to resign. I'm gonna have to resign from tech tubing. I'm a failure. I just stuck a RAM stick in the wrong way. That's the end of my career. I'm gonna have to move to cooking. There we go. Next, install the storage drives. I've got this Patriot Burst Elite, and I will admit, I forgot this case doesn't store these types of drives, so it is just gonna be whoopsies. Flappy in there. And it also clarifies to connect SATA power. I've just chucked my SATA drive down in there because this case only does hard drives. It's an old case. and I don't have any adapter hardware with me. Next up, install the graphics card. For that we've got our low profile GTX 1050 Ti, which is just going to be chucked into this top slot. There we go. That is now in. We're just gonna go screw it in. I'm actually quite impressed with Chat GPT so far. I haven't noticed any major issues. I've only needed to ask it for clarification twice. Even though it said it in the power supply step, it's now telling me to connect all my cables. Look, it ain't pretty, but I think that's actually the build done. Yeah, it didn't mention anything about fan cables, which I'm gonna ask it about. It talks about mounting it and plugging it in when you ask for more clarification. So let's plug it in and see how Chat GPT did, shall we? Guess who's setting up a monitor and stuff and just realized what they forgot throughout the entire build. So when I actually start building, I'm gonna put this on, I guess. I might be a slight idiot. Whoopsies. I've got it all hooked up to a monitor, keyboard and mouse, power switch. Do we have an instant post? Let's see if we get a signal. It's all spinning to live, but it's kind of looking like we're not getting a post. Let's try restarting it. Hey, it works! It does work. I just had to press the hardware restart button once, which ain't bad. AMD FX 6100, 970 Extreme 4. It does post. We're not going to get into Windows and everything. We know that this PC posts, and Chat GPT, with admittedly a little bit of prompting, can build a computer. It's getting better every day. So while today it might need a few prompts and here and there, tomorrow or the next day it could be doing it from scratch. But overall, I'm very impressed with what ChatGPT knew. It built it. It needed a few small prompts, but overall it wasn't too bad. And anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. It's on a small tech channel. It will help out a ton. If you've ever wondered just how much a GPU can tolerate and still work, click the video here. And if you want to see whatever YouTube recommends for you on my channel, click the video here. Make sure to subscribe as well, as I'm a small channel, it will help out a ton. I really appreciate you watching the videos. I hope to see you in the next one, and bye-bye.